Hey YouTube, it's Scott's Pachinko Restorations here with an early 1970s Model A restoration that I just completed here for a client. I just wanted to take a minute to review this machine with the client, but also anybody else who might want to watch this video for just pointers on a Model A machine. This particular machine, when I got it and was brought to my shop, had a royal blue paint all around this beautiful wood frame here. So I had to strip all of this off, and the client opted for this color stain, and we went ahead and put polyurethane over the top of that. So this isn't the typical lighter style wood that you're used to seeing on these early 1970s Nishijin machines, but nonetheless, it's gorgeous. I'm really happy with how this came out here. Really pulled out the wood grain a little bit more, and certainly looks a whole lot better than the blue paint that was there. So that's the front, and here is the back. So you can see the back was polyurethane and stained as well. Everything was taken apart, cleaned, put back together. If there was any rust, all of that was taken care of, and it's no longer rusty now. I did leave all of the covers off the back here so that my client could see the mechanics of the machine a little bit better. So I have all those parts in this little tub here, and I'll install those before he takes off with the machine. But for this video's sake, I just wanted to make sure that everything was easily viewable without the covers on it. So without further ado, I think we'll go ahead and load the machine up and shoot some balls into it and see how she works. We'll turn it back around. I'm going to go ahead and just plug it in. There we go. Right off the bat, you'll see that the ball empty light comes on. That signifies that balls need to be added to the top hopper up here. So I've got plenty of those. I'm just going to make sure that yes, okay. Those aren't going to go flying out everywhere when I put them in. Save a few for the front tray here, but as you can see, that light's now off after I added the balls to the top hopper. And we'll throw some into the front tray. And the nice thing about these Model A's is mechanically they're called a recycler machine, and what that means is the balls that are misses actually go back down into the feeder tray for your jackpots, for your future jackpots. So it's kind of nice because you don't have to change the balls out around as much as like a Model B style machine where the balls all collect down at the bottom for your losses and your wins. Your wins will come out down here on this machine, and your losses are just going to cycle back around to your feeder tray for your jackpots. So that's kind of nice. All right, we'll go ahead and give this a whirl. So just so you know, what you're hearing on the back side of the machine there when I'm shooting and all the jackpots are coming out, you're hearing a ball release mechanism on the back that feeds the bottom tray of your machine that I'll get into here in a little bit. But I didn't want you to think anything's wrong with it. It's just a feeder mechanism that releases and closes as this back tray needs to be refilled. So it's actually kind of a neat mechanism for these Model A's. All right, we'll get some close-up shots here. Bring you in a little bit closer. My aim is not that great today. So that payout is working nicely. Oh. So this nail right here looks like I need to adjust this upwards a little bit for you so that ball doesn't get stuck there. You might find some other little spots like that on the front of this machine that might need a little bit more adjusting. I do try to go through it myself with my own little handy dandy Pachinko tool, which is a Pachinko ball welded onto a stick, and you just kind of go through the pins to make sure that everything fits. But I guess I must have missed this spot right here. But overall, man, I gotta say, this is a really sharp looking machine. I'm really happy with how it came out. The playfield looks really nice on this one. The original playfield on this one, I think it was the pink and the blue, was just completely faded away. You couldn't even see that in the original playfield. I kept your original stickers there, all your registration information, and I'll go ahead and show you how to get into the back of this thing. So basically what you need to do on the back of this machine, this little hook right here, you're going to pull this up, and that will release your front tray, just like that. And this opens up nicely. Tilt the camera down a little bit here. I don't want to open this too far because it's not on feet. This machine doesn't have feet on it. It's going into a cabinet. But basically the way you would open up the front tray to address any issues in here is this little button right here. Ooh. Looks like I had some backed up Pachinko balls there. This opens up and swings out. You don't want to lose the machine there. But this opens up and swings out, and you can get inside of there very easily to address any jams or anything that happen. Let me close this very carefully here. And then the way that this closes, you just want to push this button down, lift it up, and that's nice and secure there. And then the front tray, you just simply, or sorry, the front glass, you just give that a nice firm snug push together, and it's fastened back together to the front frame there. So that is the front of the machine and everything you need to know there. Oh, I guess this is the ball release mechanism. That's in working condition for you. I think that's everything on the front of the machine that you would need to know. The like I said, the wood came out really, really spectacularly. I feel like the wood grain on this is just awesome. One thing I did notice, John, in your original pictures that you sent me, is this little plastic piece is missing. There's supposed to be a little piece that goes over the lock mechanism here. It's not a big deal if you don't have it, because you can get into the front of the machine just no problem without getting into the lock, but you might want that if you have it. Clean it up and put it on there with a couple little brass nails. But that's the front, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the video and turn it around to the back. Here's the back of the machine up close and personal. Like I said, I left all of those coverings off of the mechanical mechanisms for your jackpot, just so that you can kind of see how this works. Just see it in action. But everything came out really sharp. Everything came out really clean. Here is your transformer. Essentially, it's just two lead wires that go into the red and the white there. And then this goes right into a wall wart. So that'll be nice and easy for you to plug in. I swapped out all of the grommets. Put some new light bulbs in for your ball empty light here and your jackpot light there. Your ball empty light is going to be operated by this mechanism right here. So essentially, when this lever is able to fall into the upward position, you'll see this switch close, and that effectively lights the top light. And then when it has balls on top of it, it falls obviously, and it opens up that switch and turns off the light there. So that's how that works. Your jackpot light here is also quite simple. Essentially, the balls will come in through the front of the machine and head down this ramp here. So you can see the backs of the tulips and all those pay pockets on the front of the machine through the back. But essentially, they all come down this ramp and they go into this seesaw mechanism here. And you'll see the seesaw has this little metal piece, and I'll point to it with my pachinko ball. This little metal piece right here leans forward and connects this switch here, closes that switch, and turns on your jackpot light. So you'll see when I lean that seesaw, that turns on your light. So that's pretty easy there too. Now these machines, I like to tell people Model A's will sometimes need adjustments every now and then, especially if you fidget around with the back of it at any point, or maybe it gets moved and jostled around or something. But your points of contact that you're going to be interested in here are this little, we'll just call that a nut for lack of a better term, screw nut. It ties into this mechanism here up top that releases pachinko balls down this spring and into your feeder mechanism for your jackpot tray. So if that's not adjusted properly right here, when you run out of balls here in this tray, it's not going to send down any more pachinko balls from your top tray up here. And that's a problem, because then you're going to run out of pachinko balls in your jackpot chamber here. So you don't want that either. So right now it's adjusted perfectly so that when you run out of balls in this tray right here, and I'll just go ahead and I was going to see if there's any easy way for me to trigger some jackpots to show you how that works. But I'll just pull down on this to show you what it does. You can see that goes up and down and will stop the flow of balls. You can see quite a few pachinko balls just drain down into that tray there, so you'll be good for a little while there. But that's how that works. Essentially, down below here on these two levers are depressed and they're tied into this nut here, which is then tied into your mechanism up top. So it's a little bit of a like couple mechanisms and push down levers all working together. But in the absence of pachinko balls in this tray right here, what's going to happen is those two little white levers right there will move up, so like this, and that's triggering. I'll show you back here. When I push these down below, you're going to see the mechanism up top trigger, just like that. It's going to trigger and say, hey, bottom tray needs more pachinko balls, send some down the spring, and it does. So kind of neat, but that is the one quirky thing about the Model A's that sometimes needs adjustments. And like I said, this is typically going to be the one spot that you want to watch, because it ties into both of those levers right there. All right, so this is the process of how jackpot works on this machine. So essentially, you're going to score jackpot on the front. Ball goes into a winning pocket. Ball comes through the machine, drops down onto this incline, goes into this seesaw, which, as we discussed, that rocks forward and turns on your jackpot light. The winning ball is going to come down. It's going to fall onto this jackpot arm, and then it's going to deposit back out to the front of the machine in your lower tray. So you get your jackpot ball back on these Model A's. Now, I'll take you back here to when the ball triggers this jackpot arm, this arm right here. What happens is that arm is tied directly into all of the balls that are going to be sent to the front of the machine, your front tray, as your winnings. So that mechanism is going to rock this slide downwards. It's going to pour these balls out here, and they'll go through the machine, and you'll have your winning jackpot balls. So I'm going to trigger a false jackpot here to show you that, and you can do that right now because there's no cover. But we're going to move this out of the way, and we're going to trigger a jackpot so you can see how this works. Okay, and I'll give you a close-up of how that worked again. Okay, so that's how that works, and that's why there were covers on the backs of these originally, so that it prevented parlor attendants from tampering with the backs of these machines for a player that might pay them off or whatever might be going on in the parlor. But that's why those covers exist, is to keep fingers off of some of these parts here that you could manually trigger jackpots from. So that is essentially simulating a ball dropping down onto this arm and triggering your jackpot mechanism here to pay out all of those pachinko balls. So that's how the back of this works. This is a front door open mechanism here on the left side of your machine. That is pretty simple to operate. You're just going to pull back on this guy here, and then it'll swing forward. So you'll need that for if you decide to mount it in your cabinet. And then, of course, this little loop that I was talking about earlier, you just yank on that loop there, and the front door will pop wide open for you. So that is pretty much all you need to know about this Model A pachinko machine. And obviously, if you or anybody else has any questions about the Model A, please let me know.